We are live. All right. Give a couple minutes for people to come in. Alec, can you hear me okay? Cool. All right, couple minutes. For those who are on, all right, so I'm doing something a little bit different this time around. And you got a free workbook. So the link is in the chat. The workbook link is in the chat. It's been already sent to you. So hopefully you got it via email, but definitely the workbook helps. So a couple more minutes, let a few people come on, and we'll get started. All right. One more minute, and then we'll start. Hey, Chad, you said when was the workbook sent? It was sent about an hour ago, and also sent previously when you signed up. But if you look in the link there in the chat by Alec, is the workbook. So make sure you download that, and that will help you. But I've got a completed workbook that I'll send to everybody afterwards. All right. So, again, honored to be here. Thank you so much, Lars. All right. So, just to review again, the workbook for this is in the chat and also has been emailed to you. So, my number one priority today is to help add value. However, how I feel significant, how I feel loved, how I feel appreciated is watching others implement. So, the workbook is built for you to be able to implement. I have no interest whatsoever of you getting on here and hearing how great I think I am and then walking away and not implementing. So if you ever want to thank me for my time, please implement, and that just refills my cup. So I hope you guys see that, and I hope you all feel that spirit. So starting off, what I want everybody to understand is I'm going to go through strategies that, not in theory, but strategies that I've personally started, failed at, succeeded at multiple times over, and taught other loan officers. So one of the biggest things I want you to understand is what is the 24/7 mindset. So as we start through this and kind of understand this journey together, what is a 24/7 mindset? When I say 24/7, most people think that what I'm referring to is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Unfortunately, that was my life in my business for north of a decade, until I learned that 24/7 also means building a business where you get paid an income 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, but you only have to work in it 24 hours a week, 7 months a year. So in theory, I'm like, oh, it's great. This sounds awesome. But, how the heck do you do that? How does that come to life? What you have to learn to do to be able to double your business is what I learned is that there's more meat on the bone of bigger producing agents. So the average agent in 2013 that we work with did roughly around $7 to $8 million a year in production. Now there's these big time mega agents that I started working with in 2015, but here's kind of simple math. A mega agent will do 50 million, 75 million, $100 million a year in loans or in transactions and closings. Usually they had a good ratio of 50% buyer deals, 50% listing deals. But the biggest thing I want you to understand, the biggest thing I want you to take away from here is for you to elevate the type of referral partners that you work with, you've got to elevate the value that you bring to the table. So why go after the top 20%? Well, you probably want to ask ourselves, first of all, who should we not be going after? I don't know how you feel, but I hear it all the time from loan officers. Hey, I'm going after realtors. I'm making my calls. I'm making my prospecting. I have 2-3 appointments a week with realtors. And the realtors that are taking those appointments, majority of them don't have any business. Majority of them haven't closed a deal this year. Majority of them don't have a database. What you want to start working with is the top 20%. So how do you identify the top 20%, and where do you be able to go identify that? So we're going to go through today is how do you identify that, and the top 20% agents, and what are the top 20% of agents looking for that you as a loan officer can bring value so you become more valuable to those agents. So you've heard me say that before. To add value, you have to be valuable. So I want to talk through a few higher level agents that I was able to capture and how I was able to capture. So 2013, doing about $36 million a year in loans, thought I was a somebody. And then you realize people out there are doing much more than you. So humbled in 2013. 2014, I started building a team around me. And I started, back then I was working with 45 single agents. So 2014 did 46 million in loans, a little bit of improvement. But if you fast forward to 2015, just 1 year later, I did $81 million in loans. Doubled my business from 40 some odd million to 80 some odd million in just one calendar year. The number one key thing was I stopped working with all 45 single agents that I was working with the previous year. Every single one of those single agents, I stopped prospecting. I didn't call everyone and say, hey, you're fired. But what I did was I just stopped responding back. It took me longer to respond back. It took me longer to respond to emails. I stopped going the extra mile to court a single agent, and I started learning how to court a mega agent. So how I doubled in 2014 to 2015, going from 40 some odd million in loans to 80 million in loans, is I started working, I let go of the 45 single family agents, and I started working with 3 mega agents. Like, well, most people say, well, Wally, that doesn't make sense. How do you go from working with 45 referral partners that are realtors to only 3 mega agents in just 12 months? Like, how do you double your business that way? The most important way that I was able to double my business is building a model with a loan officer assistant that we infiltrated a mega agent team and then added value to that mega agent team, which made us more valuable, and we won the business through those realtors. So how do we do that? Because in theory, that sounds great. But again, what did I say in the beginning of the conversation in the masterclass here? I have no interest of you getting off this masterclass. Wow, Wally's a cool dude. Zero interest. I have 100% laser focus of you reduplicating the steps that I created for you to go to implement. That is the number one way for you to ever thank me. I want to hear success stories. I also want to hear struggles that you're having, so I can help you with a roadmap to be able to get to that finish line. So as we go through this, let's talk about a few stories. So the first story I want to talk about is a guy named Lance Taylor. If you're in Dallas-Fort Worth, Lance Taylor today does about $100 million a year in loans. $100 million in real estate transactions. Well, he was the lead buyer's agent 4 years ago to a mega agent team named Christy Cannon. Long story short, Christy Cannon's group did $300 million in loans. So today, I've landed not only Lance Taylor, but I've also landed Christy Cannon. That's $400 million in realtor business that my team prospects now and manages from A to Z. How did I first land Lance Taylor, and how did I land then Christy Cannon? So I learned to go fishing in ponds that have a massive amount of fish. So Keller Williams is really big here in Dallas. And what I started doing was I started learning that Keller Williams is an educational platform. Their educational platform is called MAPS. MAPS has a breakdown of lead generation classes, lead conversion classes, technology classes, team building classes, and also recruiting classes. I stopped going to the lead generation classes. I stopped going to the lead conversion classes. I stopped going to the technology classes, but I doubled down my efforts on the team building and also the scaling their business classes. So what I realized when I was in those classes with those other realtors is that they were having different conversations. They were talking about how to grow their teams. They were talking about how to scale. They were talking about building an army, 30, 40 different buyer's agents. And Lance was there. Actually, he was sitting. There was an empty seat right next to him, and I went and sat in my rear right next to him. As I sat next to him, we sparked up a friendship. But he can tell that I was a loan officer and he was a big-time realtor on a big-time team. The number one way that I got Lance to build a friendship, which I turned around and built a business relationship, was through his wife. So this was October of 2014, and I realized that I do a Christmas party for my team at the house every December. And I realized that after stalking on him on Facebook, which we'll go through a strategy here in a second, is that his wife did it was a jewelry business that she did. So I reached out to him via Facebook Messenger, and I said, "Hey man, I'd love to reach out to your wife, but obviously from one husband to another, I just want to be respectful." And then simply reach out from there. So I want to invite her to come host a jewelry party at my Christmas party for my loan officers. He connects me with his wife. We hire the wife to come by the house to do a Christmas party, and I'm like, please, like who's gonna send their wife to some stranger's house and not come with? So I'm like hoping that he shows up. Well, the dude shows up. I invite him in, come grab a drink. And I started talking about business, started talking about growth, started talking about mindset. But the most creative thing I want you to understand is I did not go directly at Lance Taylor and say, "Hey, Lance, I want to be able to earn your business." I went through the relationship to the wife, added value to the wife where she made an income off the Christmas party, which got me into behind the curtains with him and his business, and then established a friendship. As I established that friendship, all I did was Swiss cheese his business. I looked for gaps in his business that in turn found out that I can help you fill those gaps. So Lance was an open house like king. He would do probably somewhere in there about 45 to 50 open houses a year. So do the math. That's at least one or two a weekend. And what he was great about is driving traffic there. But where he really struggled was conversion while they're there, number one, and then follow up. So what I said was, "Hey, let me do this. Remember, 24/7 mindset, 24 hours a week, 7 months a year, not 24 hours a day, seven days a week." The biggest thing is what I did with Lance is I went to Lance and I said, "Hey, I want my production partner, Shane, to come help you in the open house. But his number one priority is to make sure everybody comes to the open house to fill out the sign-up sheet, number one. Number two, I wanted to make sure that he had value and make sure that he's able to take stuff off when you're there. So then you can, in turn, be able to focus on the families that walk through the open house so you help convert them." Number two thing was we focused on lead conversion after you left. So I put together a social media drip campaign for him, and I also helped put together a bomb email gain logic fear campaign for him to be able to market to those people that came to the open house. Those two things that I did was from being a great listener, of finding out where his gaps are, asking the right questions, and getting him open-minded for me to add value. That made me more valuable than the current loan officer that he worked with. As I became more valuable than the current loan officer, I was able to attract him over to my side. And obviously we're all loan officers. So once you've got a realtor, once you've got a big fish on that hook, then it was easy sailing after that. So what I also want you to understand is I figured out what they're great at, figured out what Lance is great at, which is the open house game, right? That was his niche. But I also realized that he wasn't running efficiently, which he wasn't. He was struggling getting everybody to sign up and not write Mickey Mouse at yahoo.com. Number one. Number two was the follow-up strategies to help convert the leads and stay on top of those clients after they've left that open house. So I did that by asking him questions. And it's a very simple process that I want you to go through. And we'll talk more about it, but we'll talk more about it a little bit later on. It's step 4, but it's what the 3.5 most powerful questions. So stay tuned, and then I'll walk you through the 3.5 most powerful questions. So as you go through this, also, there was another real estate team that did roughly around $110 million here in Dallas. And it was, last name is the Buellers. So the Buellers are out of Flower Mound. And I'm a suit and tie guy. Now, obviously, I'm not wearing a suit and tie, but when I was originating loans, I was a suit and tie guy. And the Buellers were more of like the party, fun people, show up to work in shorts people. When I tried to prospect to them, they just didn't give me the time of day, and they said that was too much of a stick in the mud. Well, they're probably truthful, and I probably was a stick in the mud. But one thing I did was, there's a gentleman named Mike Brody that I knew he had a lot of influence. He was a mentor to him. So I established a friendship with Mike Brody, and I went to Mike and I said, "Hey, Mike, you know Kurt Buehler on Flower Mound, right? Where do you feel his weakest part of his game is? If I help him add value to his weakest part of his game in the real estate game, then from there I can help turn around and help add value so I can earn his business." He starts talking to me about his lead conversion campaign, and they do a lot of mailers. That was like their niche. So I went to Mike. I said, "Hey, I've done a lot of research. I figured out a great tactics to be able to convert mailers with open houses and flyers and listings and just solds and just listed flyers. I love to get it in front of Kurt, but I can't get Kurt to give me the time of day. Since, Mike, you have a relationship with Kurt, can you please reach out to Kurt, enforce me that I will add value and I won't waste his time? And can you help me get a meeting with Kurt? Because here's all the work that I did." I had to show Mike, the referral source, that I actually did the heavy lifting, because Mike doesn't want to refer me to the top realtor in Flower Mound, and I just show up and look like a Yahoo with like cookies in my hand and my donuts in the other hand. "Hey, can you send me business? Here's my programs and rates." I needed to think differently. And that's the biggest thing I want y'all to take away from today, is how do you structure to where you think differently instead of trying to be better? Where I think most loan officers really struggle in their success is they try to be better than the current realtor's loan officer. I'm going to say that again because I really, really hope it hits home. They try to be better than the loan officer that the realtor's currently using. The only way you're going to get them off that bandwagon of that loan officer that the realtor's currently using is be different. Be something that they're not receiving. So as I learned that the mailers for the Buellers was the best thing that would help them grow their business, I went and create a relationship with an allied resource, which is the theme of all this today, is with Mike, and Mike got me in the door. So Mike helped reach out to Kurt and said, "Hey, Kurt, I know you're blowing off Wally, but I really think you should take a meeting with Wally." He said, "Sure." So I call Kurt Buehler actually calls me and says, "Hey, Wally, let's get Mike reach out to me. Let's get a chance to meet." So I come up there, and he goes in his office. I got my best suit on. I've got my best tie on, and I walk in. He goes, "All right, two things. Get rid of that freaking jacket, and if you walk in here with a tie, I'm going to cut it." That's how he started the meeting. Was I a little intimidated? Was I a little nervous? Yes. But I stayed the course, and I said, "Hey, if I want to spend the next 15, 20 minutes with you, Kurt, understanding a little bit more about your business so I can help you add value to your business, which gives me the opportunity to be more valuable in your eyes, looking through those lenses. If you don't see value in anything I'm bringing you today, I'm going to walk directly out that door. You're never going to hear from me again. Can we sit down for a few minutes?" Kurt gave me the time of day. I sat down, walked him through the plan, all the research that I did, what books I read around it, what YouTube videos I watched around it, what online portals that I saw through, like different chat groups around it, and what interviews I did with other realtors that I know here in Dallas that would be great for me to be able to learn from, to be able to add value to him. What he was so blown away with, I never asked for a referral. I never begged him for a deal. And I brought value to the table before he was ever saw that he needed that I would ask for anything. One of the biggest mistakes I see loan officers make is they come to the table in the first meeting. You got to walk away with a lead. You got to walk away with a referral. You got to ask for the business. Dude, you haven't done anything to be able to earn the damn business. So you have no right of asking for the business. You have no right of you feeling like you deserve something because you landed the meeting unless you add value. But for us to add value, we've got to be different than their current loan officer, not better. That's one of the biggest takeaways I want you to take. I've probably said it like 9 times here. Be different, not better. The way you're different is being a great listener. There's a reason why I've got 2 big ears, is being a great listener and asking the right questions. So as you're taking notes here, I want you to write something down. This is a morning affirmation I've told myself for the last 9 years. And it's really how I have every conversation. How I'm having, conversations today with my kids, to my spouse, to financial advisors, to CPAs, family will attorneys, realtors, builders, whatever. So the affirmation is really simply, my questions are piercing. My questions are piercing. My answers are motivating. My answers are motivating. My presence is commanding. My presence is commanding. My success is untouchable. My success is untouchable. So that is how I built it. That's how I built the conversation. My questions were piercing because I asked questions about his business or any of their businesses that identified gaps in their world. As I found gaps in their world, I was the problem solver that solved those gaps. So as I solved those gaps, that made my answers be motivating, because they were energized to see a solution. So being a great listener and asking great questions, then responding with great value, allows your presence to be what? Commanding. So if you become the fountain of youth for their business, of them getting solutions of how to build their business, and you getting all that wisdom from them, and then you come to the table with a plan for them to be able to grow their business without asking for a thing, who's doing that? Still, even to this day, I've done these master classes multiple times. I've shared these stories multiple times. But you still have a ton of loan officers cold calling agents, and you still have a ton of loan officers coming to the table and saying, hey, I'm great. I'm better than your current loan officer. You've got to be different. So Dan Munford, you said one more time. Alec put in the comments section there. So questions are piercing, answers are motivating, presence is commanding, which makes my success untouchable. So how we do that, what I want you to understand is we've got to do our research. You've got to study their social media. And as you study their social media, what do you see gaps in how they present their social media game? Where do you see gaps of how to improve their conversion? You can see on there how many videos are on there, how many comments, how many likes, how many views. Don't come to the table and say, hey, I want to pay for your lead spend. Please, please, please don't just throw money at a problem, because it won't work. They'll just take your money and you'll miss out. But if you come to the table and you say, hey, I've been studying your social media, your content's great. However, your execution of your structure on your ads, here are the top 10 ways that I've learned to be able to increase my ad conversion, which increases my engagement, which increases my following, which increases my leads, which turns around and helps me close more deals. Here's the top 10 steps, plan in the order. This is something I do for my business. So may I sit down and show these to you so you can do this for your business, and/or may I sit down and help you show you where I can add value to your business by helping you implement this. Again, who's doing that? Be different, not be better. So next thing I want you to understand, step 2 of the process is, what is their challenges? So as you're learning what their challenges are, one of the videos I made yesterday was I talked about what's really helped me go from 36 million in 2013 to over 250 million in 2022, and be completely out of the loan process from A to Z and have my mind share, my time back. One of the biggest things that helped me build that is filling in other realtors, other referral partners' biggest challenges by asking great questions. But for me to ask great questions, I first have to be a great listener. So learn to ask questions that open multiple doors. So a great series here that I really want you to take with is, if you got something to write with, please write this down. You won't regret it. Michael Mayer is the author of 7 Levels of Communication, a freaking genius when it comes to relationship. He taught me something called the 3.5 most powerful questions. You ready for the 3.5 most powerful questions? So let's just say the realtor's name is Bob. Hey, Bob, talk to me a little bit about your business. What do you feel your biggest challenge in your business is today? So the question is, What do you feel your biggest challenge is in your business today? And as you're going through that, look how specific that is. Alec, can you write that in there for the group? So I'm going to have Alec put that in the group. So you guys, if you're not taking notes, you can pull that from there. So what is the biggest challenge in your business today? So as I've done that through those conversations, they tell me, it's deal flow or lead flow. And so I say, okay, well, a lot of realtors I see have that same challenge. What have you tried? I want to understand how resourceful they are. I want to understand, what solutions have they tried? Because I don't want to recommend the same damn solution that they turn around and say, yeah, I've already tried that. It doesn't work. Why? Because I don't want to look like a Yahoo. It's just really that simple. So ask those questions. So what have you tried? How have you tried to fix or improve the biggest challenge you have in your business today? So that's question number 2. What have you tried? Question number 3 is, what are you going to try next? Question number 3 is, what are you going to try next? I want to understand, have they given up? Have they just accepted that this portion of the business is just never going to be successful? Do they see that portion of the business, they want to improve it, but they just don't simply know how to improve it? The 3.5 most powerful questions is, someone just asked, Claudia, what is the name of the author of the book? Michael Mayer, author of the book, 7 Levels of Communication. So the half is by when, and that's honestly my favorite question. So again, number 1 question is, what's the biggest challenge in your business? Number 2 question is, what have you tried? Number 3 question is, what are you going to try next? And the half, the little pinky, the half is by when. So the reason I want to ask by when is, how engaged are they? How engaged are they focused on improving their business? If they're engaged and focused on improving their business, then I'm with a growth-minded person. But if you ask them, hey, are you a growth-minded person? What are they going to say? Yeah, I'm really growth-minded. But if you talk to someone and someone says by when, and they don't know, then they're not an action doer. They're just a yip yapper of what they want to accomplish. It's a great term that I've learned to live by. And you want to be an entrepreneur, not a wantrapreneur. An entrepreneur, not a wantapreneur. Entrepreneurs are their friends or colleagues that we hear all the time tell us everything they're going to do, but they never do anything. So the buy when helps me understand, do I have a growth-minded action person on my hands? And if I do, I am all in. Because my response is, hey, you said your biggest challenge right now is, say, deal flow, Bob. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. Let's close out this meeting, this coffee meeting that we're having. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go spend the next 2 weeks doing research, by reading books, doing YouTube videos, reaching out to top real estate coaches, finding out who my other realtors are that previously struggled with deal flow, and then from there come back with a plan. I'm going to put together a plan for you of all the research I've done and how it can help you grow your business and how it can add value to you. If I do that, are you willing to meet with me 2 weeks from now? What are they going to say? Yeah, go do all our research and maybe. No. They're going to meet with you again. They're going to want to meet with you again because they want all the research that you've done. That's learning how to think differently, not be better than the current loan officer. Think different. Don't try to be better. Then the last step, and step number 2, is called mutual connections. So mutual connections, to me, what's really been helpful for me is indirectly being direct. So what does indirectly being direct mean? Indirectly is, I've gone to title companies, meaning business development managers or escrow officers, and instead of saying, hey, mistake number 1 of loan officers, Mr. Title Company or Mrs. Title Company, what agents can you refer me to? I send you all my refinances. What agents can you refer me to? Absolute mistake. What you want to do is you want to put together a list. Here are the top 20 agents in town that I want to go after, and I want to do the business. Mr. and Mrs. Title Company, who on this list of my top 20 do you know that you can introduce me to or you can refer me to? Because I send you all my refinances. What's going to be awesome about it, they pick any of that top 20 list, it's going to be a win for you. I don't know how you feel, but previously in the past, a ton of company agents refer me to a realtor, and I go to these realtor meetings with them. And what happens is you realize that the realtor's there that hasn't closed a deal in 6 months, and there's no business really there, but you're spending time for lunch and you're wasting your time. So I come to the table with insurance people that want my business, appraisers that want my business, title company, escrow officers, or business development that want my business, any resource, allied source that I have out there that wants my business on the mortgage side of things, to say, hey, here's the top 20 person list that I have of real referral partners here in Dallas, Fort Worth that I want to grow a business with. Who on this list of 20 do you know that you can introduce me to? Anybody on the list is a huge win. Who do you know? That allows you to be different. Again, just don't try to be better. So step 3 is I want you to learn how to help them self-discover solutions. So it's really important, self-discover. What you want to understand is you want to make these coaching sessions with you, the realtor, as a self-discovery of solutions. You want them to become the hero and you be the guide. Unfortunately, most loan officers do the opposite. Most loan officers come to the table, I did all this for you, and they bang their chest and they're like, they want to be the hero. But if you're the hero, who's your realtor? Who's your referral partner? The zero? You don't want to be the hero and then be the zero. You want to make them the hero and you just be the guide. So if you're the guide, you're asking them questions for them to self-discover that they're on the right path of being your partner because you're different. Not on the path that you want them to be on because you're the best of the best. The higher level thinking type of loan officers are not necessarily puppet masters, but they're able to emotionally lead a referral partner to the destination that they want to go. So how do you emotionally lead a referral partner to the destination you want to go? Really easily. When you emotionally lead them, you listen about what their goals are. You listen about where they want to go. And the hard work to get to that destination is rewarding because they get the goal or they get the dream that they wanted to dream. So, question. We're all supposed to lead prospect and call referral partners and blah, blah, blah. Realtors are the same. So prospecting time is time blocked on most realtors' calendars, the top producing agents. And when you ask them the question is, so how's prospecting going this week? I had a 911, this fell through, this inspection, blah, blah, I missed it this week. Well, you understand, you told me that your goal is your family goals, ... I don't want to see you push that off and keep missing your goal. Where can I help you, the organization, during your week? Because the more I can help you there, the more time you get back, the more prospecting you're able to do, the more that it helps feed both of us. So as you learn to be able to talk with your realtors and referral partners in the ability of emotionally connecting to pull them versus pull them, you become the guide, they become the hero, and they self-discover solutions through you. So step 4 is learn best conversation practices. So conversation practices is a lesson that I learned from, there's a great book called Millionaire Real Estate Agent. Millionaire Real Estate Agent by Gary Keller. Millionaire Real Estate Agent. Matt said, say that again. I've talked a lot, Matt, so I don't know what you want me to say again. Just please be more specific and I'm happy to help. All right, so Millionaire Real Estate Agent. So Gary Keller wrote this book. This book I've read 11 times. It's about 400 pages. Why have I read the same book 11 times? It's about 400 pages. Because every time I read it, I learn how to be a better realtor. You think you heard that correctly? Well, it says, please repeat step 4. So step 4 is on the screen. So learn best conversation practices. So when I learned to be the best realtor I can be, not the best loan officer, I learned the business tactics and business strategies that the realtors had to do. So, for example, In Millionaire Real Estate Agent, Gary Keller talks about a mega agent open house strategy versus a solo agent open house strategy. And what we all experience out there are solo agent open house strategies. They go out there, they put a sign in the yard, they open the door from 1 to 3 p.m. on a Saturday. They turn around and they put cookies and milk or whatever in the kitchen, and they stand there with their sign-up sheet. That's a single agent open house strategy. A mega agent open house strategy is that, say the same thing. The open house is from 1 to 3 p.m. The strategy is the buyer's agent that's doing the open house gets there at 12, door knocks 10 houses to the right, door knocks 10 houses to the left, and door knocks 10 houses in the front of the house that they're doing the open house. So you got 30 houses that they're going to door knock. They want to budget roughly about an hour to do that before. So, and it's really simple. Hey, knock, knock, knock. Person opens the door. Can I help you? Hey, I'm Bob. I'm the realtor doing the open house right across the street from you. I just wanted to give you the opportunity. Do you know that you can pick your next neighbor? You can have your best friend move into this neighborhood? What do you mean? Well, I'm about to do this open house. Who do you know that you would love to move into this neighborhood, and or that might be looking to buy, sell, or list their house, that you can invite to the open house that would actually be able to want to move here, that you've already got a friendship with? Does it work every time? No. Does it work majority of times? Yes. One of the questions that they get back in that mega agent open house strategy is, well, what are you listing the house for? Whatever you want to say. Then they talk about not only what they're listing the house for, but, well, yeah, I'll come by. Neighbors love going to open houses simply because they're nosy. They're nosy. They want to see the insides of those houses to see what the work they've done, and they've learned how do they compare their current house to that open house. If it's upgrades, if it's whatever it is. So what's great about that is you can in turn help them do that strategy. Now, when I bring that up to a realtor, I don't know how to door knock. Well, hold on a second. Give me a day. I'm going to go do research and find out the best 10 tactics to do door knocking when you do an open house strategy. And what am I doing? I'm going to go grab my little book. It's like that thick, Millionaire Real Estate Investor, Millionaire Real Estate Agent, go to the chapter of open house strategy, and guess what's in there? A script for door knocking. I take that script and say, hey, Bob, the realtor, great news. I went and did some legwork for you. So Gary Keller himself wrote this book, Millionaire Real Estate Agent. In there has the script. It's well proven. All the mega agents are using it. I've already emailed it to you to your inbox. Would you like to role play together? How different is that? Not better. Would you like to role play together? So as you're reading these books about how to be a better realtor, you're going to learn nuggets. Second thing is, as you're attending these real estate focused seminars, so like I said, I was really big in Keller Williams. So Keller Williams is a great class called Bold. Bold is that it happens probably once a quarter in your city. Bold is a class that usually has about 300 to 400 realtors in it. Every class, first 15 minutes of the class, it's a 6-week class. First 15 minutes, the agents stand up and say, I'm Bold. I got 3 contracts this weekend. I got 2 more listing appointments, and I generated 20 leads last week. Next realtor stands up. I'm Bold. I've got 1 contract. I've got 3 more listings that just went on the market. I was able to generate 10 more leads this week. 400 agents stand up and say I'm Bold, and they give their stats. Every single Bold for 6-7 years I was here in Dallas Fort Worth, I went to Bold. I've been to Bold 11 times. You're a loan officer in a group of 300 to 400 realtors that you're allowed to be there for a 7-hour day or an 8-hour day for over 6 weeks. And you've got 300 to 400 realtors in there that are saying that they are Bold, and here's the results of my lead generation this last week. Do you think you'll be able to pick up business? Stop going after agents that don't have any business. Go to places where there's agents that have business. That is a great way to be able to grow your business, but you've got to think differently. So what I'm trying to give you today is multiple steps for you to double your business. I don't want you to just try to a little bit double your business. I want you to go 200% further to be able to double your business with these strategies. But I can't do this for you. You're going to have to implement. You're going to have to fail forward. You're going to have to try. So I want you to really understand that if you go to places, big ponds that have a lot of fish, meaning realtor-focused seminars, then it gives you the ability to stand out because you're different and you're more growth-minded than the most loan officers that are there. So step 5 is something that I've used very, very well over the years, and it's allied resources. So the allied resources that I've really learned how to leverage are other industries here locally in Dallas that go after the same prospects that I go after. That's title companies and that's insurance. So I do a client appreciation event or party once a year with my title company agent, and I do a client appreciation event once a year with the insurance agent. Some loan officers will say, hey, I spread my refinances or cash outs back when we had them. Refinances or cash outs to multiple different title companies out there. I try to get more referrals out there. That's not my strategy. I went in Dallas-Fort Worth, found out who the number one biggest title company is in DFW, all of DFW. The number one that had the most amount of realtors of the biggest producers out there in the marketplace whatsoever. I went to that number one title company and said, hey, I'm a newer loan officer. I'm a nobody just yet, but I want to start referring you my refinances and my cash outs. Over time, as my business grows, would you be willing to invest in me as I'm investing in you? Sure, kid. That's fine. We'll invest with you, but you got to send us your refinances. As I started sending the refinances, or as the cash outs, I only ask one question: how am I doing in adding value to you, and am I becoming more valuable in your eyes? Next referral I send over. Next deal. How am I doing in adding value? Am I more valuable right now in your eyes? If you keep keeping them accountable because you're feeding them and giving them referrals, law of reciprocity, they're going to start referring you back. And if you come to the table to the title company and say, hey, here's the top 20 realtors that I want to partner with in Dallas-Fort Worth or Nebraska, or wherever you are. Here's the top 20 realtors I want to partner with. Who on here do you know that you can help me set up a lunch or a coffee with? Same thing with the insurance company. You refer your insurance agent, right? You refer your credit repair specialist, right? Assume so. Now, when you're referring these allied resources, hey, I'm going to add value to you so I can become more valuable in your eyes. And as every referral you send out to them, it's a simple question. Have I added value enough for you to see more value and see me as being valuable? So around 2019, 2020, I learned that my database can turn into a data bank. And that's the last portion of the 5th step there. So the 5th step there talks about annual mortgage reviews gave me leverage. So when you look at, if you watch so there's a QR code there. That QR code leads you to the masterclass that I did called the 6-lane highway. 6-lane highway. Definitely take a look at that. That will help you understand more of what I'm saying here. What I've learned today is I do all the steps that I gave you earlier, from the allied resources to doing the research to adding value, some more value, all those 4 other steps that I did. But the step 5 today that absolutely gives me the biggest leverage whatsoever is annual mortgage reviews, because I'm able to pull referrals out to come to the table of those meetings with those mega agents and saying, hey, thanks so much for taking my time. Here's everything I'm going to do to add value to you. And here's the research I've done and everything I just gone over with you. By the way, I really manicure my database to turn into a data bank. And what I've learned is some of my past clients want to purchase or refinance or list their houses. I want to be able to refer them to you. Just last week, John Smith from my past client database came to me and it got pre-approved. They want to start looking at houses. It's a $400,000 house in Plano. They want a 4-bedroom, 3-bath, so on and so on. I'm coming to the table with referrals because I've been able to take withdrawals out of my database because I've turned into a data bank, and I'm coming to the table with those referrals. That's one thing I really want you to understand, the full access of being able to have leverage, which leads us to step 6. So step 6 is surveying your realtors for their biggest hurdles and helping them make video content. So what we do today, what's really helped us today, is then I realized that, once I got to about $100 million a year in loans, it was just too much work doing all this work for realtors. But for me to get to 200 million, what I realized I did is I brought all it in-house. So in-house today, I've got a social media marketing specialist that helps the realtors be able to help them execute anything social media, from posting to editing to reels to podcasts, anything handles it from A to Z. Number one. Number two, I brought in a technology specialist that's a realtor automation and technology specialist that is able to do all of the things that personally I talked to about when I was coaching realtors. Then I've got a client concierge that helps with a database. So what I want you to understand is you've got to build up to that. Could I have afforded that business development team when I was starting out doing 30, 40 million bucks a year in loans? No, I probably couldn't. Can I afford them now doing $200+ million a year in loans? 110%. There's plenty of profitability when it comes to that. But you as a loan officer, you've got to start doing that to be able to be more valuable to your realtors. So what I want you to understand is I gave away the workbook earlier, and I gave that to everyone. And that was emailed to you guys, and it was also put in the chat here. But also, as we're closing here, I've got the filled out workbook on this QR code. So I'll also hang out on the screen for a second and answer some questions. But click on that QR code, and then you'll get some more access, some more tools, and it'll be filled out, and you'll have notes from today. So what I want to kind of understand next is some questions. So I'm going to start answering questions in chat. Who wants to ask me a question? So Matt Vogel. Matt, you said, so when you can't afford those people, what do you suggest? Matt, I'm not being a smart ass, but I'm just being transparent with you. There's an invention called Google, and it was my best friend. So when I started Googling, let's just say if it was open houses, I started Googling top 10 tactics for very successful open houses. If it was lead conversion for a realtor, just started Googling it. And from there, what's super great about that is when I was doing it, all the research, thank you for thinking that was funny. All the research that was done, from the YouTube videos to the articles, the LinkedIn articles, to the books I was able to read, I started giving that data as gifts. So I'd go, let's just say realtor says that, let's pick up something creative that they would struggle with. Yeah, my brain is fried, so let's just make it an obvious one. An obvious one would be a lead conversion, scripting. I found a script master that had their scripts posted for leads on their on Facebook or their private group or any of that. I came to the table with those. So to answer your question, Google, Mark, I agree with you. When I started this in 2013, there was never a ChatGPT, but ChatGPT is absolutely brilliant. If you're not using that to make yourself look smarter, you're really missing out. So Mark, definitely agree with you. So another question is, what was the name of the resource you mentioned to find power partners in like industries? So title companies will be able to have a list of all the top producers. So what I want you to know is, as you've established a relationship with a title company, my title company gives me a list of the top 100 realtors in the 5 surrounding counties that we have. So now I've got the top 500 realtors within, say, a 50-mile radius to me. As I'm going through that, I'm starting to break down, which is also in your handbook, in your workbook, who are the top agents out there that have the most, not the most amount of production, but who are the agents out there who have the most amount of buyer production? Because it breaks down buyer deals, listing agent deals, both side deals, the volume, and the unit count. So as I've learned from the Tonic Companies, getting those directly from them. Number one. Number two. All right. So what is our mix of referrals from realtors to CPAs, financial advisors, and attorney? So so roughly put it this way, Jeff, our $200 million business that we have today as a team, roughly $85 million of that comes from our realtor business. Roughly another $35 million of that comes from our database, and the remainder comes from our wealth team. Wealth team is our CPAs, financial advisors, family will attorneys, and our insurance agents. All that is worked together through our client concierge team and able to generate referrals and generate leads. We refer out over 200 clients on a monthly basis consistently to CPAs, financial advisors, family will attorneys, and insurance, which allows us to receive so many other referrals from those wealth partners and be able to refer them to agents that we work with and also new agents that we want to work with. So Daniel said, do you sell against the current lending partners paying for leads, or so how? I don't. I used to try to sell against them. What I would just do is say simply, hey, here's what I want you to do. I'm not here trying to replace your current lender. I'm here to try to add value to you. So if you got your current lender and they're paying $2,000 a month on Zillow leads, allow them to keep paying that $2,000 on Zillow leads. What I'm going to do is I'm going to help you generate more referrals through your open houses. I'm going to help you generate more referrals through your database engagement strategies. I'm going to help you generate more referrals through your lead conversion. All I ask is, when I help you generate a more part of your business, would we have a clear partnership that I've earned those extra referrals? And John, the loan officer, is paying the $2,000 for your Zillow leads, then he's supposed to be getting the referrals only for the Zillow leads that he has. But I've earned the ability to help, as I help you build bigger, wider legs or bigger, wider highways in your real estate business. I've earned those referrals. I'm not going to say it works 10 out of 10 times, but it's probably worked, Daniel, 9 out of 10 times. That got me in the door. I did not have to pay the $2,000 in Zillow leads, but gave me the ability to be able to get business from them. All right. So Brian says, accountability resources for loan officers and agents recommendation. Accountability resources. All right, Brian, help me out here. What do you mean accountability resources? Is that, are you guys like technology leverage? Help me educate me on that, and then I'll add next one there. All right. So Zachary says, if you move to a brand new city and a brand new state and did not know anyone, what strategies would you use to build your business from scratch? So you said new city, I moved there. I'm going to guess I was a previous loan officer. I'm going to go back to my trusty old AMRs, annual mortgage reviews. So if I'm in a new city and I've got new annual mortgage reviews, I not only would start doing annual mortgage reviews for me, but I'd start doing annual mortgage reviews for my future partners. When I started, remember my story, in 2019 to 2020, 2019, I had a database of roughly 2,000 past clients. 2000, just the following year, just 12 months later, I had a database of 11,000. I did not close 9,000 loans that year, but I was able to onboard my realtors databases, my CPAs database, financial advisors, family will attorneys, and insurance, created 11,000 households. I was able to do annual mortgage reviews, which generated a ton more business from there. So that's exactly what I would do, and hopefully that helps, Zach. All right. So let's go with Jim. So Jim, how would you suggest going after the market that is 1.5 to 2 hours away from where you live? I'm heavy on jumbo market, and I can't compete against big box banks. Totally know what you mean. I need to go after agents in other conforming markets. So Jim, just full transparency, bud, I'm going to give you a hypothetical answer because I've never experienced that. So, but I'll do my best. Challenge, Jim, I'm going to sound like a broken record. It comes back again to database. So what I would do is I'd find out, okay, so if I'm in Dallas, 2 hours away is, say, Austin. I would go to Austin agents, and I'm trying to get business from Austin agents. I would offer them, I've got a service in-house, and I call your past clients for you. I tell them I'm an extension of you as their realtor, and I'm here to help them do an annual mortgage review to make sure their mortgage is running the most efficient process whatsoever. So as I do that, I'm helping them generate referrals from their database from them. And that in turn allows me to earn their business of the other current referrals. So biggest thing I would say back to that is the ability to be able to get business from other agents, again, goes back to the annual mortgage reviews, and because you want to access their database. Their database is their equity in their business, and you can be the vehicle to do that. So Daniel says, are your annual reviews automated? Zero automation of scheduling them and zero automation of doing them. You've got to go a mile deep and inch wide with your clients. The biggest thing about that is for you to do that, you've got to be able to actually add value to them. For you to add value to them, you've got to be in their life. So I've never been successful doing it in a automated. And the loan officers that I've coached over the years that I've tried to build an automated platform, unfortunately, just doesn't work. All right, one more question, and I've got to run. Let's pick a good one. So Jeff Weaver says, when you got rid of your 45 agents, what is the minimum, I believe, minimum production of agents you targeted? You're going to laugh, but the average agents that I worked with previously were like, $10 million a year agents. But so I started going out there and just jumped up to 50 million. So 5X. And over time, what I realized 50 was definitely much better, and I was able to add value. And that was like 2014. By 2016, 2017, the lowest producing agent I was going after was $100 million. What you realize is, the bigger the producer, the more lonely they are. The bigger the producer, the less they get prospected. The bigger the producer, the less the competition is. The better the competition is, but the less it is. Because most loan officers are intimidated, and they're afraid to go after the big real estate teams. So, all right, I fibbed. One last question. This looks like an easy one. Do you and your team just concentrate on DFW? Yes. I'm in a ton of business, Jeff, here in DFW, and that's where we've kind of focused. I'm at the stage of my life that I've got a 17-year-old son and a 16-year-old son. So here's going to get me start crying here, but I have one more summer with my oldest son, and I've got 2 more summers with my youngest son, and they're off to college. So the days of me trying to grow in other cities and move and go out there and do masterminds and relationship building, not having it. And so I just focus on DFW so I can sleep in my own bed. All right. So I want everybody on here that, wow, that makes me feel great. Brian, thank you for saying this is gold. So what I want everybody to, Alec, can you drop in there the Facebook group? Yep. So we're going to do is drop in a link in here for the Facebook group. And I want you guys to, it's 24-7 Mindset, private Facebook group. I would love for you to jump on and ask every and any question you have in there. My promise and my commitment to you is if you go in the private Facebook group and you sign up in the private Facebook, if you ask your question in the private Facebook group, I promise you I will respond to it. I'm on the way to our lake house this afternoon, but I'll definitely do it over the next couple of days. I give you my word. If I don't respond to it, I ask you next time you see me, slap me. But this is the biggest thing I want to do is thank you so much for being on the masterclass. And please join the private Facebook group 24-7. It's now in the chat. Click on that, join the group, and I would just love to add value in the group. So I make a post on there on a daily basis, upload videos, pro tips, different books that I read, different strategies that I've done, and I really hope you can join the group. All right, guys, thanks so much for your time, and I'll talk to you soon.